One of the things that I read about you was that you worked in a sand mine when you were young, that you dug sand all day.
Yeah, that was growing up. I was about 10 years old when I started that because I was in the village and where I grew up. After leaving my aunt's house, I went to my grandma and we had to like do something. We had to work to contribute at home, to buy oil, to buy food, and also for our scholarship, for books. So you have to work. And that's how we started. Even though that work was meant for adults, but we didn't have any option. So we take what we had at the time.
Growing up doing something like that, that's got to, first of all, it had to be very difficult. Like
Very
digging
difficult.
sand.
Yeah.
It's also, your body must develop very strong from doing something like that. At 10 years old, like as you're growing, as you're maturing, doing something that's that difficult,
Yeah.
I mean, it must have made you really fucking strong.
Yeah, I hope so. But what I
Well,
was
obviously it did, but it's just genetics too. There's a lot of good things that came your way that way, but also the difficulty of doing something when you're that young, such hard labor. I mean, it had to teach you discipline. There had to be like some positive. It's terrible that you had to do that at 10, but
Yeah.
there had to be some positive aspects of it, some positive repercussions of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't like my life, and I always feel like I miss my childhood. Like it's something missing in it because it's been too much frustration
Yeah.
in my life. Like I had to work by that age, and it wasn't enough. Like when school starts all the time, I gonna go to school, and most of the time still didn't have a pen to take note or a notebook to write on it. Sometimes no shoes or clothes, just have to wear like my uniform was tear all over, and I was frustrated to look around and see other kids looking good. They went to they went in vacation to this family member, came back with all brand new stuff, and I was just there looking crappy with my. I had to like take my old book and look for an empty page to take a note, hoping that when I have a book, I'll copy the note from this year in the new book. But at first, I always had to use the old book. And most of the time, teachers, they don't understand why you don't have a book. They don't understand why you don't have a pen. Sometimes they just think that you didn't tell your parents. You should tell your parents so they can buy it for you. They don't understand that you can not just afford it. Your parent can't. And they'll kick you out from the classroom. Maybe
Really?
just to say, go tell your parents. And
And you couldn't tell them we can't afford it. You didn't want to say it.
then they knew.
They
But
knew.
what can they do?
Right.
Nothing, because most of the time it's going to be, even with the money that I worked, that they're going to buy my pen or my book.
Yeah.
But you work sometime and they don't pay you right away. It's maybe after months, so all the process. And sometimes they'll just kick you out from the school because of the scholarship fee. You haven't paid on time, so they kick you out. So I was subject of shame to other kids,
Yeah.
because all the time when they kick you out in front of 50, 60 students, it's not a good thing, And I couldn't have a friend because you know how things work. You have to be able to bring something on the table to enjoy, But since you don't even have a pen or a book to take note, nobody expect you to bring a lunch or to buy something in the break time to share with them. So they don't want to share with you since they don't have any hope that you will have something to share with them. And I was always in retreat. I always stay in retreat. And that's how I technically grew up by myself. I end up like not even trying to have a friend. I'm like, okay, this is my situation. Maybe I feel okay, just retreat myself, not just to try all the time. I get shame of it all the time,
Yeah.
you know. I retreat and don't have to deal with these people with their opinion on me. And but that motivated me at some point. I'm like, damn, look, this kid, they are looking at me like I'm worth nothing. But technically, I worth more than them because I'm working, you know. Even though what I have is less than what they have, I deserve what I have. I work hard for it. And they don't deserve shit. They are just a kid.
Right.
They work and their parents provide for them. I'm not just lucky. I'm not just lucky to have the chance, but I'm still trying, which means I'm not bad at the end of the day, you know. So that pushed me to, like, from there, I wanted something to prove them wrong. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something that's gonna prove this kid that I'm not beneath them.
So that gave you motivation.
Yes, that gave me motivation because that frustration, I was full of frustration, and I want to, like, drive this into something. Like, I have to prove them. I can't go to the party. I can have friends as anyone, and I have to work hard than anyone. You know, my schools was like, my middle school was, I think, about 6 miles from home. So it took me almost 2 hours to get at school.
So you walked.
Yeah, so I walked around about 2 hours. And before meet the first student is at least after like 40 minutes walk, you know. So I have to wake up at 5, just get ready, start work. Sometime with not eating. Then I get to school, and the school close at maybe 4 to 5. But since I didn't eat in the morning, by noon, 1 or 2, I'm hungry, I'm starving. I can't take it anymore. I will leave school sometime, you know, just because I was hungry. Or if I had a chance to have breakfast or something, I won't eat before I leave home, because I know if I eat at 5 or 6, I will get hungry early. I'll take it at school to eat maybe around 10, so I can resist until the end, you know. And that's how I did it my this entire time. So my process was all different from other kids, and nobody could have understand that. You know, he was just on me, and I was the only one knowing what I'm dealing with exactly to get there. So, and all those things kept frustrating me. I'm like, I'm gonna show them. Like,
How long did you have to work in these sand mines?
until I left school. Until I left school, I was 17. And then I keep doing it. And then
So you did it from 10 to 17? You did it all through school?
yeah,
And when
that was
you,
the only thing to do.
Right. When did you do it? Like, if you went to school during the day, when did you work in the sand mines?
Over the weekend, over the holidays, because I never had a chance to go to holiday, even for the summer holiday, which is like 3 months. That would be because we have a tropical climate. So at that moment, we have 2 seasons, wet season and dry season. And that's a wet season. So it's almost rain all the time. Kids go to vacation and all those stuff. Adult doesn't want to work because it's raining all the time. Guess what? That was our opportunity when they don't want to work, so we have a chance to work.
Oh.
Otherwise, they will come back to their job. We will not have job.
Right.
You know, so that was a good opportunity to work under the rain all the time, like get back home shaking because all day long it's been raining, so you have to stay active because as soon as you stop working, moving, you get cold, you just get freezing, so you get active. It forces you to stay active and to work even more, and our employer will love that because you work even more than normal. And yeah, so that's how we do it. And sometime after school, I will stop at the sand mine if I have like a quick job. Maybe if a truck comes and they have to load it. If I have a place to load, because you load, they give money to share. You get something sometime not. And when I was a kid, most of the time they kick you out. Adult didn't want you on it. I'm like, get away off here, because the less they are, more money they get. So they don't want you to fuck around.
Really? I saw that you went back recently, and you're taking photos of you in the sand mine where you worked as a boy. Did I see that on Instagram?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I always do that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, when I'm home, I always like to do that. It's kind of like, it really hurts me to remember everything, like where I came from, how he was, Every time that I go back home, I will go back to all those places that I used to work there. I hated this thing growing up. Oh, you can imagine. I hated the sand mine, everything. I hated my life. But today, it seems like a fuel for my life today. I have to fill up from that life. Go back there, see this. Because most people there are still people that we grew up together. And he allows me to see how far I came from, Like, I think it's the moment that I enjoy the most is like those moments, going back, go to my the house that I grew up into. Even though we fix it today, it's not the same, but the environment, like sleeping, have all this nostalgic wake at 5 o'clock, all this animal sounds from outside, the birds, all those sound which is like very familiar, bring you back from 20 to 25 years ago. The smells, everything reminds you something, and this always my best moment. Like, I can go there and live in the 5-star hotel, do some crazy stuff, but he doesn't. I don't enjoy that as much. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I always do it. Like, I always go back to the sand mine. This is like a tradition, not just for them because he helps me. I like it. I feel like, okay, it's kind of like taking my revenge of life. Like, okay, I used to be here thinking this, thinking that, dreaming of this, dreaming of that. Today I have this. Look, that's my car. Look, that's my truck.
Yeah.
Look, that's my house. Look, this is my life. I'm going to fly back to America even though I'm here,
Yeah.
So it's like living a dream.
Yeah.
Because back then, that was just a dream, a crazy dream, unbelievable. So I'm living into it right now. Like, yes, doing this 20 years ago, I was dreaming like, man, how it is to be in the airplane, going somewhere. Imagine yourself being in the airplane, going to America or to France or something. Wow. And I go back, I do the same shit. I'm like, guess what? I'm going back to America in 1 week. Yeah.
Right. You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just reminds you, puts you back in that place.
Yeah. And what is crazy is like most of the time it's going to be with the same guy that I grew up with.
Wow.
They're in the same place doing the same thing. And
what is it like for them? Do they ask you questions? Like,
man, and that's why I feel very lucky just to have a different mindset, just to even have a dream. Because they don't even have a dream. Most of
Right.
those people, like, if you ask them, like, okay, what is your dream? Where would you like to be in like 1 year, 5 years from now? He doesn't know. He gave up long time ago. He doesn't give a shit about it. As long as he has something to eat, before go to bed, it's okay. That's it.
Mm.
And now I'm like, how can somebody live like this?
Right.
But it's their life. You can't do anything. I'm like, but then you will find some people, which is a little different. They are like, they have a dream. They're hoping to change their life. Those people over years, you can see the change in their life, improvement, step by step. Like this year, they're gonna say, I want to do this. I wish I can do this. Next year, guess what? Even though they didn't do that, they didn't get that done, they get closer, and
Yeah.
next year, and next year, and next year, they move up. But those who doesn't have a dream, they're just there like that.
Do you find some of the people there that do have a dream look at you and they get inspired? They say,
Oh yeah,
"Look,
yeah. Those who has and I think that's even why some of the reason will keep me going back, and like even in the foundation. Like once I had like a really good friend of mine. This guy is in the village and he's doing good. He's doing his businesses, doing good for a village guy. Like sometime I will come there, he will even give me like a whiskey, find a good whiskey for me. And he said, man, like you just going in America and come back here means a lot to us. Like we grew up together. That means it's possible for us too. That drive us through our dream, like motivate us. Like, yes, if Francis did it, I mean, I might don't do the same thing, but I can get to what I want to, And I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate his word. And he was like very humble, explaining me things. And yeah. And that's why I also like doing my foundation. Like I like to like tell this kid, like, listen, I'm not a fairy tale. I'm not a story that you watch on TV, that you read in the book. I'm a fact. I grew up here. Most of you knew me before I even live here, which means it's possible. As long as you believe in something, in a dream, as long as you have a dream and believe in yourself, I think a success is just a matter of time.